Welcome, Connie. Welcome, Connie. Welcome, Cass. Just going over some notes while we're waiting. Still have a few more minutes. Welcome, Amy. And welcome, Terry. Welcome, Karen. Terry, if you don't mind, I'll make you co-host as well.
Say again.
If you don't mind, I'll make you co-host.
No problem.
Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to week 3 of the Open Spiritual Channels program. So let's go ahead and connect and prepare for today's sharing wisdom and practices. Placing your hands in the Soul Light Soul Service hand position. And you, if comfortable, please repeat after me. Dear Divine, my beloved Source Creator, my name is Paul Fletcher, Paul Fletcher, Paul Fletcher. State your name 3 times. I am extremely grateful for the opportunity to further open and develop my spiritual channels, to further awaken the dormant aspects of all that is natural to me. I am grateful for the wisdom and the techniques, the sacred information that Master Sha has brought to humanity and is being taught through his teachers. I am grateful for the opportunities to receive the light balls and transmissions to more easily remove blockages and develop my spiritual channels. I am beyond grateful for this and more. Thank you, thank you, thank you. On behalf of myself and my ancestors, I wish to deeply and sincerely apologize for any times I have harmed anybody on their spiritual journey. I may have been in a position of authority or teaching at some time, and I may have offered incorrect information, incorrect teachings. I may have offered incorrect advice with spiritual channels. I may have harmed people's soul journey as a result. And if I or my ancestors have created suffering on anybody's spiritual journey, I deeply apologize and ask forgiveness from all of those who have been harmed. I offer my unconditional forgiveness to any souls that have harmed my spiritual journey, taught me incorrectly, offered me wrong or hurtful teachings. I forgive you. And if I have harmed you or others, please forgive me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to today's practice. We're going to start out by checking in with everybody, seeing if you have done your homework. We were to focus on the first soul house this week. So let's check in with you one by one. I see Terry, you're first on my list. How have you been doing with first soul house practice?
I've been doing a considerable amount of it.
Great. And what have you noticed?
Pardon?
And what have you noticed?
It's like my body, my energetic body is swelling. Not only that, but when I do the chi channel, it's just amazing, more powerful.
Yeah, very, very important. Great, great sharing. Connie, let's check in with you.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, it's kind of similar to the Kundalini Snow Mountain practice for me. Just activating that area more when I do the recordings, and I like it. I'm sensitive to it, and I think it's working.
Excellent. How you notice anything specific when you work with it? You know, go ahead.
Kind of the same as when I do the lower dantian, or if I'm doing the heart chakra, or just I take turns with them, and I've been having more energy, more clarity, more inner peace. I feel like I also have Well, again, like more clarity. Like answers come to me when I ask for them a little quicker.
Okay.
Then sometimes it could take all day or maybe the next day.
Mm.
So yeah,
Okay.
very exciting.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And Cass.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I've been doing it every day. At least the first soul house with the ones that we're doing in the other class too. So I just go from one to the other.
Okay. So you're not necessarily able to associate any differential because you're going from one to the next.
Maybe. I don't know. The last couple of days I've been extremely anxious. So if I'm like that, I can't remember diddly for the last week.
Mm. And what energy center is associated with anxiety?
Heart? No?
The heart, actually the heart chakra, yes, the fourth soul house. So you might want to consider that piece of wisdom and work with that. We'll get there in a few weeks. But in the meantime, do things to release message center blockages. Thank you, Cass. Amy, check in with you.
Yes, I've been doing the practices, and I actually think my first chakra is waking up. That's been like the only one that I guess is really blocked. I mean, that I can't feel when I do all the chakra work. And the last few days, I actually am starting to feel some life. So I think it's working.
And when you say I'm starting to feel some life, what does that, how does that represent itself in your life?
Um, well, first off, physically, the fact that I can actually feel more vibration when I do the hay and all my other practices now, whereas the other, I really had trouble feeling anything. And I actually have felt grounded a few times, which is huge.
That is huge.
Yeah. So that's a good sign. I need to do more, but that's a good sign.
Have you received light balls for your first soul house, Amy?
Yes, I have. That's the one that I have received.
Okay. Yeah. So make sure you continue to practice with them. That's probably one reason why you're noticing some differences.
Okay.
And so for everybody, there are, I don't think I'll be doing anything with them today, but there are light balls for each of the 7 chakras. And I tell you that's not something you wait on if you have not received them. Get them one by one, get them all 7, just get them, because you know your chakras are literally amongst the most important parts of your entire vessel. Each one is related to aspects of enlightenment. Each one has major relevance to your health and wellness, and of course each one is going to affect your spiritual channels. And you know, they've been talking about chakras for you know, eons. That's the one thing that most humanity has heard of as a chakra. So to be able to get a light ball, which in essence saves you about 500 lifetimes of service on your own accord in each chakra, is you know, it's kind of like putting on a 1,000-watt light bulb in a very you know, an old house that has 1 or 2 lights in it, because it would take you so much practice. It's not meant to say that you're not light already. It's just that we require a lot of focus, dedication, and practice to clear the blockages in these 7 chakras. Master Shah released them, and only recently did he add the golden liquid springs, which is the yin and yang. It's basically 2 light balls in one. So if possible, just get them. It'll just make a massive difference in your entire health and wellness. As well as, of course, your spiritual channels. Okay, let's check in with Karen.
Hello.
Hey.
That makes a lot of sense. I totally can see the value in getting a light ball, especially for this area. It's been I've been really grateful for the opportunity to focus on this energy center. I can start to see the value in having that strong foundation and the interconnectedness of it to all the other chakras. And it has been helpful for me to work on it, and I've noticed being more able to connect with other parts of my body and to be more present and to feel and experience the things that are going on
That's great.
within myself.
That's very good news.
It's
So you think you might continue with those practices then, huh?
definitely, yes.
Good. That's good. Yeah. A lot of times, I just had a conversation this morning with one of the students, and I said, when you came to me, because this person asked, how is my energy? Has it, can you see any changes? And I said, yeah, actually, when I saw you, it was last night. No, it's this morning. I said, when I saw you, since, because this person had received probably about, I don't know, 3 or 4 light balls. And I said before, when you came to me, your energy was basically upside down. You were like an upside down, pyramid. And now you're more like an hourglass shape. You have, 2 pyramids touching each other. You got some foundation and you're still upside down, but at least you're more like an hourglass instead of an entire upside down pyramid. I said, so you're on your way. You're starting to do the practices and it's starting to show up. And I think that's what's happening for you as well, Karam, is you're really setting a strong foundation, and you're starting to see the results in the way you've expressed them, and they'll just get better. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So today, let me go ahead and pull up the PowerPoint and go over what we'll be covering. There we go. All right. So this is what you can expect during this series. I had it almost completed last week, but it wasn't quite complete, so I needed just this little more time. But this is what you can expect through this series. We've already talked about the nature of the soul, the nature, power, and significance of it. That was the first week, and that's what set the foundation for this course. So everything ties back to the soul. Last week, we went into depth on the first soul house, and then you had a whole week to practice it. This week, we're going to start working on the second soul house. We're also going to do an introduction to what is soul communication. And you'll be receiving more information on that today. Next week, week 4, we're going to talk about the third soul house and a much deeper introduction on soul language, as well as some beginner level soul language communication. Week 5, we're going to step much more into the soul language and the translation, as well as the information on the fourth soul house. The fourth soul house is the heart chakra, and we've covered that in the first series. And so I believe all of you have attended the first series. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, since you will have understood it. We'll kind of recap it and then spend the majority of time on soul communication and translation. These are going to be the beginning practices. You'll be able to translate soul language. Week 6, we'll cover the fifth soul house, and we're going to work with soul communication with your own soul. Okay. Week 7 will be the sixth soul house, and we're going to be working on soul communication with outer souls. And then week 8, we finish with the Shen, Qi, and Jing channels. So this is the flow of the classes that we're going to be going through over the next 5 or so weeks. After this week, there's 5 more. All right, so that you can expect. And then the final section is a 4-week series, and it is the Beyond Intermediate spiritual channels training, and that's the 4 major channels: soul language channel, soul communication channel, direct knowing channel, third eye channel. And depending on how that one plays out, we might go into the 4 major meridians. We'll see how that plays out. Okay. So reminder from last week, we talked about the first soul house, and we described it was at the base of your torso between the anus and the genitals. And this area is called the perineum, and it's a fist-sized energy inside the body. You can see by the image there that it's up inside the body, not outside. It's also referred to as the root very often, root chakra. And it is gathering the message, energy, and matter of the yin of the entire body. And we talked about the yin and the yang energies. It's the key soul house for healing the whole body because it includes the Hui Yin acupuncture point. Remember I gave you the story about the acupuncture master who brought a person back to life that had been drowned for a half hour. That's how vital this point and area is. We then talked about how it's the key soul house for every DNA and RNA because they need yin, yang, and balance. Everything in our body is yin and yang balance. And the Hui Yin point can serve to bring balance to the yin and yang in every part of the body. Of course, the crown is the yang aspect, and we'll get there when we get to the 7th soul house. And I actually had to do 6th and 7th in week 7. I'll go back and change that. Therefore, to do practices for the Hui Yin point is to heal all kinds of sicknesses. So even though you might hear Hui Yin acupuncture point, Hui Yin point, it still is referring to the first soul house because one actually sits on top of the other. The Hui Yin point literally sits at the base of the skin, whereas the first chakra sits up inside the torso, but one impacts the other. You empower the first soul house, it empowers the Hui Yin point, and vice versa. Excuse me. So it is the foundational energy center for the other 6 soul houses. We've talked at length about that. And it and the Hui Yin point are the key for developing special abilities. Those special abilities are the kind that you and I might call miraculous. But when we can get this energy center very highly activated, then the possibility of doing miraculous things becomes much more feasible. It is the sacred powerhouse for developing confidence and stability. 2 people mentioned they feel more stable, more grounded, and possibly even more confidence, even though you might not have used that word. But this is a natural side effect of that. One thing that I touched on at the end that is a good thing to remember and be a reminder of is this area often has associations with addictions and sexuality. And so, and of course, the genitals are in this area. So there are both men and women that have had disease in this area. And women, for example, might have ovary conditions or there's some, what are some of the names that, urinary bladder infections, UBIs. What's another one? Not diverticulitis. That's different. But there's pain with women in the womb area, but a lot of it could have to do with weak first soul house, and for the men, of course, prostate, and then also early ejaculation, things of that nature could have associations with first soul house power. And so as we increase these, it can help stabilize those kinds of energetic imbalances. Now, also addictions have a lot of association with first soul house. So isn't that interesting? If somebody has, addictions of some kind, typically it's a form of covering up something that was quite painful. It could also be a form of basically hiding inferiority, low self-esteem. And so these aspects can settle into the first soul house. And when this area is positively impacted on a consistent basis, it can help somebody stabilize with their addictions. And as a reminder, also the soul, mind, body of relationships is expressed in this first soul house. Obviously, with any sexual organs down there, there's going to be relationship activity, and so some blockages can show up down here. And so by strengthening this area, you literally can strengthen your relationships by strengthening this area. It is the key soul house for longevity. It's the sacred powerhouse for divine soul song. And it is a sacred powerhouse for connecting to Mother Earth. It is also the Huiyin communicates with Mother Earth, Yin, and then heaven represents Yang. And then we have a practice here that was in the PowerPoint. And so you can see the image here. It's the red one. It's often associated with red in terms of the color charts. Whenever you see these in the yogic societies, it's recognized with that color. You remember we call it the Hui Lun, the gear at the bottom of the sea, because when it's most powerful, it helps to invigorate and cause movement and flush and clear the other soul houses, kind of like the big wheel that pulls the water up and brings it around the Ferris wheel makes the other small wheels work much better. Okay, so it's the gear at the bottom of the sea. That's what the Hui Lun translates to, gear at the bottom of the sea. All right, so that's a reminder on the first soul house. Are there any questions before we move into the second soul house regarding the first soul house teachings? Very good. So the second soul house, there's actually not a huge amount of information in all of Master Sha's books. And so, it won't take me too long to go through this, and we'll, of course, do the practice for the second soul house. But one of the keys to recognize is that it is between the first and the third. And just as in any soul house, the third is between the second and the fourth, and so forth. And so any one of the soul houses can have blockages in them, and it can inhibit the flow of chi up and through the entire channels. So it's very relevant in many, many ways. The first bullet point on this is that the second soul house is the key for empowering the lower dantian. Lower dantian, we've discussed at length in the first series of teachings for the foundational energy centers. And to be perfectly frank, I need to double check that this is a separate from the lower dantian. I believe it is, but I need to double check. To my understanding, the lower dantian is a 1.5 tsun below the belly button, 2.5 tsun inside the body, whereas the chakras reside through the center of the body. And if you are a wide person, then your second chakra would not be 2.5 inches from your belly. Okay, it would be definitely farther in. And so this is why I need clarification. But to my understanding, the lower dantian is an energy center, not a chakra, and it is separate from the second soul house. Second soul house, and all of the soul houses run on a vertical line right through the middle of your channel from the top dead center of your crown to the center of your torso. It is the key soul house for healing the large intestine. And I would argue that it is very, very important for the small intestine. And it would absolutely impact certain parts of the lower organs, such as the bladder and such as the womb, the uterus, and even potentially lower back, it could impact. So this is what is written in Master Sha's books. But the large intestine, if you look at it on an image, is the outside intestine, and it is larger, of course, than the small one that runs through everything. But certainly, this energy center can impact many, many physical areas of the body in a profound way. And so somebody asked about the appendix. Absolutely. It would absolutely impact the appendix. My understanding of the appendix, which is not in depth, but my understanding is it sits at the end of the large intestine. And it's very, very important. If that's not in a healthy place, you could die. Appendix is burst. And so it's very important to keep that healthy. So the third bullet point, it is a sacred powerhouse for developing energy, stamina, and vitality. Why? Why? Let's talk about this a little bit. All of you have been through this teaching for a little while, and all of you have heard, boost energy, stamina, vitality, and immunity. Well, why? Okay. Remember, this is the postnatal energy center. So, or it's associated with it. It empowers the lower dantian. So this whole area is the engine of your body. I was talking with one student recently, and I'm like, you're 60 years old. When was the last time you did a flush on your body? When was the last time you flushed every organ, every system, all the water elements, all the blood? Do you drive a car for 60 years and not change the oil, not change the spark plugs? How do you think the car is going to run if you drive it for 60 years and not do that? It won't make 5 years, let alone 60. And I said, so this area of the body, I explained to this person, your organs, your intestines, they're trying to make fuel for you. You put food in, and it has to be broken down through your entire digestive process, which is in the lower half of your body. It's everything's below the belly button, that is creating fuel for your body. And if these areas have negative impact by physical world things, that's going to negatively impact your energy. Whereas we know by the structure of the Shen-Qi Jing charts, it's soul, heart, mind, energy, matter. And you've seen these charts many times, but when you hear it in different language, it helps sink in more. Soul, heart, mind, energy, matter. What's above the matter? Energy. What is the matter? Well, the matter is your digestion issues. The matter is the blood flow. The matter is the intestines. The matter is the cells, the cellular matter. What changes the cellular matter? Energy. And so you hear what's the foundational energy center do? The lower dantian, the second energy center, boosts your energy, stamina, vitality, immunity. Why? Because it's in this pocket of your body, the matter pocket of your body, that is designed to create the engine for your life. You put food in, it's designed to break it down, create nutrients, micronutrients, proteins, everything you need, enzymes, everything you need. It's supposed to do that all by itself. But over time, it gets slower and slower and slower because, A, we're not cleaning it out, but specific to this energy center, if we can empower this area significantly, then that energy starts moving the what? It starts moving the matter. It starts transforming the matter. So it doesn't, if you can put enough chi down here, if you can put enough light down here, enough second energy center light, literally you're transforming the matter at the cellular level. So even if you're not able to digest the food the way you would like to, the energy is so high that it actually does the digestion process for you. It breaks down the molecules for you. It breaks down the constituents of that food because the energy is removing the negative information. When you have unbroken down particles in your body, that is creating energetic, literally physical blockages, is creating energy blockages. So this causes it to move. Yi Dao, Qi Dao is the one sentence secret Master Sha teaches us. Yi Dao, Qi Dao. Yi Dao is blood. Yi Dao is Qi. So energy moves, blood follows. Yi Dao, Qi Dao. Qi Dao, Yi Dao. Move the Qi, blood follows. And so when you empower this area, you're moving the Qi. The matter has to move out of the way. This is the crux of TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. They're moving the Qi. The physical matter has to follow. People put in a needle, do a certain kind of massage, add the herbs, adjust the wind, the water, the direction of the Qi, and all of a sudden people feel better. Move the Qi, blood follows. Qi Dao, Yi Dao. And that's why this area is so important for empowering because it will increase your energy. It will increase your stamina and vitality. Absolutely will. It is a sacred powerhouse for rejuvenation. So rejuvenation is basically another word for reversing your age. Rejuvenation is youthing, and everybody wants to reverse their age and youth. The channels, when we get to week number 8 of this series, the final week, we're going to go into Shen, Qi, and Jing channels. And we've talked a lot about the Qi channels, but the Jing channel is the rejuvenation channel. And so is the lower Dantian and the second soul house. They help you to rejuvenate. They help you to reverse age. They help you to feel younger, happier, and healthier. And I'm sure everybody would want just a little bit more of that. So it is also the sacred powerhouse for losing weight. And we talked a little bit about this before, but basically, when you can raise your frequency and vibration, you are causing the matter to start working a lot better. You're causing the breaking down of the toxicity, the cells that might be holding on to fat. They might not be necessarily communicating directly. A lot of times our body will hold on to fat, it will hold on to water because the cell-to-cell communication is not in ideal balance. The metabolic system of the body is maybe not operating at peak efficiency as it did when we were younger. So when we activate the energy centers in the lower part of the body, it's sending a high frequency, high vibration signal, and that's causing the fat to burn. That's causing the cell-to-cell communication to increase. And as the cells start talking to each other, they start functioning and doing their job better. Cells are matter, remember. Energy leads to matter. So as the energy is increasing and it causes greater frequency and vibration, the cells will react and respond. They'll start functioning better. Waste gets removed, fats get removed, toxicity gets removed. You start getting healthier. So losing weight could easily be a natural side effect of doing enough practice with this. It's not going to be a miracle overnight cure. You know, if you did 2-3 hours a day of lower Dantian, absolutely you can give up coffee and you would probably start losing some weight. Okay. All right, so let's do a second soul house practice. Let me pull up here. For those of you that are familiar with Master Sha's newest book, the Tao Calligraphy Healing Field, you see it in the left part of the image here. If you don't have it, get it. The Tao Calligraphy Healing Field. It's a very powerful foundational book, and within it is a web page, and that web page is something you can go back to on a consistent basis, doing practices with Master Sha, with his voice, with his frequency and vibration. This page has been blessed. A little side note, the first time I ever heard of blessing a web page was with my second enlightened master, Master Chin Yin, and I was the person that was in charge of her web page. And she would check guidance before I knew what guidance was, and she would say, she'd be looking at it with me, and she'd be saying, nope, this needs a different color. And I would change it. Nope, I'd change it again. I ended up changing like 15 times. And it looked like the same color of white to me, but it wasn't. And it had to be just the right color. And I had to change fonts. I had to do a lot of things. And she kept checking your guidance, basically to get a score on it, to see if it was a high enough frequency and vibration to call people and keep people to stay on her webpage. So power can be transmitted into anything, as you have all learned and discovered, including something like this. So there is absolutely power transmitted here. And if we look at the second soul house right here, we have the sound power of Heng, H-E-N-G, Heng, Heng, Heng. And you can go here anytime. And you see down here in the bottom, this little circular loop. If you clicked on that, then this would just loop and loop and loop and loop. And you can go into a nice meditation, chanting with this, chanting with Master Sha on any one of these 3 steps. We're going to go ahead and do this together. And so placing your hands first in soul light, soul service hand position to fully connect. and we do the 4 powers. Dear the soul of my second soul house, love you, honor you, appreciate you. You have the power to boost my energy, stamina, vitality, and immunity, to help me lose weight or normalize my weight. You have the power to release blockages in my large and small intestine and cause them to work much better. Do a good job. Thank you. They're all my downloads, treasures, and light balls. I love you, honor you, appreciate you. All my healer transmissions, love you, honor you, appreciate you. Can you please turn on? Can you please boost, bless, heal, transform, empower my second soul house? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So second soul house is about instant sun, 1.5 sun, or 1.5 inches below the belly button, and it's in the center of your body. Okay. For body power, you can do yin yang palm position, left hand out, grip your left thumb, 80% power, roll the other hand over, and then drop your knuckle into your belly button. Gently roll your hand over and double check your shoulders and elbows, make sure they're nice and relaxed. You should only have a grip on your thumb. Everything else should be relaxed. We're going to do this first practice, and you can follow with the breath, breathing in to the first soul house, exhaling to the second soul house, expanding the light. Here we go. Om. 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 Moving on to step 2 for the second soul house. Follow the imagery. Deep breath in. Hum, hum, hum. 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 hung, 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 hung. Moving on now to step 3. Deep breath in. Hung ya, hung ya, hung ya yo. 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 Hung ya yo.
哼呀，哼呀，哼呀哟，
哼呀哼呀哟，哼呀哼呀哼呀哟，哼呀哼呀哼呀哼呀哟，
哼呀，
哼呀哼呀哟，哼呀哼呀哟，哼呀哼呀哼呀哟，哼呀哼呀哼呀哼呀哟。好. Thank you. Okay. So this, of course, is a second Energy Center foundational practice. For those of you that do have access to this webpage, I do recommend that you do it with this webpage when you do the second energy practice. I apologize that the audio might not have been as good as it normally is. I did not set it up properly. You might have heard it a little bit more in the background versus directly on your speakers. That's because I didn't set it up properly. So I apologize about that. But when you do it on your own, it'll come directly through your speakers. You'll be able to hear it well. Remember to push the loop button at the bottom next to the play. I think it's on the opposite side of the play. And then it will play 10-15 minutes. You can just keep going back and deeper. I actually was getting into a little bit of a hundun there, a little bit of a empty space because of the frequency in the field. It's not because of the second chakra, it's the frequency in that field. So do take advantage of that. Again, you can access it just by owning that book. Okay, so hopefully you have it. All right. So now we'll come on back to where are we going to next? Well, next is understanding more about soul communication, because this is where we're headed with this practice, with this entire program. This is a foundational Open Your Spiritual Channels program, and there are 4 major aspects. The first one is actually being able to receive the information. The second one is translating it and communicating it. The third is third eye, which is another form of receiving communication. And the fourth is a direct knowing form of communication. There may be others, but Master Sha has not taught those yet. So we're teaching what he has taught us. We're very blessed that he has brought this sacred wisdom to us to learn more. So what then is soul communication? Soul communication is communication with all souls. All souls. Does everyone and everything have a soul? The answer is yes. Does your RNA have a soul? Does your DNA have a soul? Does your eyelid have a soul? Does the computer in front of you have a soul? Well, some of those might make you raise an eyebrow, I'm not sure. But in this teaching, everything is made of energy and matter. Everything is made of source. Source is creator of all energy and matter. And that energy and matter is in a space of nothingness, hundun, has no form, has no space. It's just like a fog. And then according to Master Sha's higher level teachings, which you may be blessed to see sometimes, it sits there for billions and billions of years, just billions of years, just as emptiness fog. And the clean chi rises and the dirty chi falls. What does that mean? The clean chi is the higher frequencies in vibration. The dirty chi is the lower frequencies in vibration. Guess which one we're in? And so these are still interconnected, but in this lower frequency and vibration, the fog that you and I live in, we have to be able to clear those blockages so that we can connect with the higher frequency and vibration and the information that comes through that. Now, you have heard, or hopefully you have heard in Master Sha's teachings, Ren Di Tian Dao. Ren Di Tian Dao. What does that mean? This is Mandarin Chinese. It means human, earth, heaven, Dao. Human, earth, heaven, Dao. And why is that relevant? Why does Master Sha continue to refer to Ren Di Tian Dao? The reason why is there's a pathway to enlightenment. There is a pathway to opening the spiritual channels. The pathway is by raising our frequency and vibration. Soul communication is accomplished by raising our frequency and vibration. Soul communication is accomplished by removing that which inhibits the raising of frequency and vibration. So when we start working with the higher frequencies of a higher enlightened human being, then it's kind of like working with a mentor that's a guru at learning how to do something you've always wanted to do, whether it's be a good speaker or be a millionaire. If it's a high level skill and you found a guru, that means that's a high level human being in that field and you're down here. And so as you work with that higher level being, you raise your intelligence, is your frequency and vibration to match up to that high level being. So when you hear Ren, human, we're talking about raising your frequency and vibration to a higher level human being. What's next? D. D is Earth. How long has Earth been here? 4 billion years that we know of based on carbon dating. And you can tell that Earth is an unconditional universal servant, which is a guidepost of a higher level being, unconditional universal service. You can tell that Mother Earth as a soul is an unconditional universal servant because she has never asked for anything in return, but she gives us life, gives us breath, gives us water, gives us food unconditionally. And all we do is give her disrespect on a colossal 8 million people wide basis, but she still offers her love unconditionally. So she carries a much higher frequency and vibration. How long does the average human live? 100 years. How long does Mother Earth live? So far, 4 billion. And so every soul is on the process of realignment to source. It's in the process of becoming one with the original source frequency. So is Mother Earth. She'll eventually become a very high level light being as she goes through her process of helping other souls like us become higher level beings as well. So what does that mean? That means we also need to align our frequency and vibration to Mother Earth. What does the first chakra connect to? Earth, raising our frequency and vibration, right? What does the crown chakra connect to? Heaven. Ren Di Tien. Tien is heaven. Tien is heaven. Heaven's frequency and vibration. Heaven is not physical. Heaven is a higher dimensional representation. Mother Earth is vibrating along with us. She's still at a very high level of 3D, but she's vibrating in 3D. She's still very physical to us, whereas heaven is in higher dimensional frequencies. Heaven has been around a lot longer than Earth, a lot longer. Therefore, the next step on our journey of raising our frequency and vibration, which purposefully is to be able to receive soul communication, as we align our frequency and vibration to heaven. How do we do that? Well, every time we offer heaven our food and water, we're aligning our frequency and vibration to them. Every time we ask forgiveness, we're removing negative information, raising our frequency and vibration. Everything that we teach you, every time you come to the Tao calligraphy healing field, what are you doing? Removing stuff from your Shen Qi Jing, thereby raising your frequency and vibration. Everything that we do allows your spiritual channels to become wider, 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 wider. And so the more practice you do with the 7 soul houses, this channel that runs from your crown down to the base of your torso becomes a little bit wider and a little bit wider and a little bit wider. This last week, you worked in the first soul house, so it's like a little bit wider, but everything above it might be a little bit more closed. So we're cracking it open. Next third soul house, crack it open. Fourth soul, crack it open. Every time you receive a chakra, a light bulb, cracks it open huge. This will all increase the opening of your spiritual channels. What is soul communication? Is communicating with everyone and everything that exists in all creation. Can you communicate with source? Yes or no? You might not think that you really can. You might say, oh yes, everybody's going to say, sure, sure. But when was the last time you did and felt confident that you had a very direct answer? Probably 50% of you hand went up, the other 50% said, I'm not so sure. So we can talk to Jesus, we can talk to the frog, we can talk to Buddha, we can talk to the bird that flew by, we can talk to the cellular DNA within our skin to find out why we might have a skin condition. We can talk to anything because everyone and everything has a soul. This is the foundation of understanding what is soul communication. Everything comes from the same source. Everything has the ability to be communicated with. Mother Earth has the ability to be communicated with. Heaven, same. Okay? Your soul, week 6, week 7, week 8. We're going to start communicating with your soul. We're going to start communicating with outer souls. And so this will be a series of practices. We're going to keep doing them all the way through series number 3. We're going to learn more about those channels and go into more practices. So our practices will start next week, but right now we're setting the foundation with what is soul communication. All right. How to do soul communication? Well, kind of a long answer, not so short. How to do soul communication? It's a series of awakening your apparatus. Your ears, if you were blessed, you came in, your ears worked. This is your hearing apparatus. Your eyes, this is your seeing apparatus, and so forth. These are your, what they call senses. This is how you connect to this physical world. This is how you perceive this world. Soul communication is not of this third dimensional world. So we have to change this apparatus and alter its frequency and vibration to be in alignment with the frequency and vibration that the soul world operates on. Not the 3D world, but that which is above the 3D world or at the higher versions of the 3D world. Now, on a side note, there's a lot of information all over the world, all over the web, about what is third dimension, what is fourth dimension, what is fifth dimension. And, I had a lot of previous students, I'm already operating in the fifth dimension. Okay, great, congratulations. I'm not so sure that that's correct, but, a lot of people have their own perceptions of these things. According to what we hear from Master Sha, which he's not the end all be all, it's not one of those things where, you know everything. Let's just forget anything else and ignore everything else. No. If it resonates with you, if it makes sense, if it feels right, great, accept it. Here's what he shares. You can choose to accept it or not. He shares when he checks with heaven, he hears that the entirety of Mother Earth and all humanity are rotating into a higher frequency and dimension. Rotating meaning as a galaxy, as a galaxy, basically Mother Earth and the entirety of what goes with us, we're rotating into a higher frequency and vibration. And heaven tells him that fully becoming into the fourth dimension would take about 100 years before we're just all in, so to speak. That it's a process between here and there. Now you have some beliefs out there that may be true that say, no, it's just going to be like a blip overnight and everybody will be, kumbaya and we've all made it into the fourth dimension. Yay, we're here. Not what I'm hearing, but, maybe that would be great if it was that simple. Soul communication is communicating with all souls. That includes the plants, which are lower frequency and vibration than you and me, animals, lower frequency and vibration than you and me, and so forth. It includes communicating with them and higher. So when we're talking about these things called dimensions, maybe a better way to think about them and a better way to think about soul communicating is opening up our third dimensional vessel to remove and push aside the 5 senses that we currently perceive with, and consciously and purposely align and attune our energy vessel, which we all have, to that which birthed us. And what did it also birth the animals? Our creator, did it also birth the plants? So do they operate on the same energetic frequencies that we do? You see, the reason why opening our spiritual channels and soul communication and how to do soul communication becomes a bit convoluted and difficult at times is because we're so stuck in this 5 sense thing. You know, when I'm teaching, well, I don't feel anything. How do I know it worked? Because you're trying to analyze it with your 5 senses. Not going to happen. These light balls and things that we might not be able to comprehend are higher frequency and vibration. Until you attune your vessel to those higher frequencies and vibrations, you're probably not going to feel it. And good news, bad news, when Master Sha offers the even higher ones, you can't feel anything because it's just such a fine frequency. How are you going to feel it? You know, it's almost impossible. You just have to trust that it's there. And so we're in more of a dense frequency and vibration. You can still feel it with your 5 senses, but you have to have some attunements. How do you open your spiritual channels? That's this portion of this training. You slowly but surely clear the main channel. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, this also is an aspect of the Qi and Jing channel, which is the circle that is your body. We're going to go over that in week 8. You're going to have a much deeper understanding of this 7 chakras and the channel that it's connected to. And in the advanced courses, there are 4 more channels that each act as conduits through which heaven communicates to us. Third eye channel, soul language channel, soul communication channel, direct knowing channel. These are not straight up and down. These have a special pathway, each of them allowing heaven to have more clarity in their communication to us. So in order to how do you open your soul communication? You have to practice. You have to continually raise your frequency and vibration. You have to move the crud out of the way and not try to discern with your 5 basic senses. You have to learn to receive the information from a non-mind place. Where do you think that non-mind place is? Anybody? Where do you think the non-mind place is that you receive? Right here. You receive in the heart. The heart is the receiver. Remember Shen Qi Jing teachings? Heart is the receiver. They're not talking about the physical heart. So this is what receives the messages. So this is what needs to have the greatest release of blockages. Anytime you can get a soul operation, a Dao hands, anytime you can trace Da I, anytime you can trace Da Quan Shu, trace for your heart center. If you want to open your spiritual channels, clear these blockages. The more you clear these blockages, the better. Got self-love issues, get a self-love light ball. Start clearing the blockages, okay? Whatever it is, relationship stuff, can't seem to move out those relationships, can't find true love, get a true love light ball, clear these blockages, because I promise you, this is where it's at. That's going to open your spiritual channels more, because the message comes into what? The message center. Yay! How do we open our spiritual channels? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make sure this guy is always, always, always being cleared. And try not to put more crud in here. How do you put more crud in there? Watching unpleasant information on the news, getting into an argument with somebody, judgments and criticism, creating negative karma, thinking about something in a loop over and over and over and over and over. Master Sha's, even though it's not a recent teaching, he's putting more emphasis on it. He says, if you're thinking something or watching something and it's negative, and you do it again and again, you're creating that same karma, and then more of the same karma, and then more of the same karma. That's not going to help you have an open message center. Not going to help you with your ability to receive open spiritual channels. So how? Clear the blockages. The information is literally there. Imagine a book the size of the universe that had every piece of information you ever wanted, every answer, everything where you can never fail and always get it right. And it's sitting right here, right above where you can see it in the camera. It's right there though. You just can't see it. Why? Because all this crud is in here. That's why. And the more you clear it, it becomes into view. And the more you clear it, it comes into view. And pretty soon you get a clear answer. There's so much power in this book that as I put it over my crown actually starts vibrating. I didn't even realize that. Amazing. It's there. The ability to receive and get information is literally right there all the time. Just like when we've taught you before. God is all around you. You're the fish swimming in the ocean and you don't even know you're swimming in it. Why? Because you're an unconscious fish. And I don't mean that literally. I mean, you all have levels of consciousness. But the point is, when we open our spiritual channels, it's about clearing the blockages and becoming in alignment with what's always been there. And then all of a sudden we get more advanced information, more enlightenments, more wisdom, better understanding of why things happen the way they do, more guidance from our soul so we don't make mistakes, guidance on how to fix that problem with our abdomen. Whatever it is, it's a wealth of information sitting there trying to find its way in. We got to do the work. Okay, next slide. You guys having fun yet? Soul communication helps the spiritual journey. Duh. But let's talk a little bit more about why. So the spiritual journey is not the health journey. The spiritual journey is not the financial journey or the relationship journey. It's a spiritual journey. It's the journey of the soul. It's the journey of enlightenment. It's the journey of why am I here and what is this all about and how the heck do I get out of this experience that I might not be enjoying all that much? How do I move to a place of joy, you watch the Dalai Lama, he's always smiling and happy, or somebody who's always joyful and in bliss. How can I get there, please? And can I do it in one life, please? Is that possible? Can I just bypass all of this and just get there? So that is the spiritual journey. It is the path. So soul communication can assist us in that path, because we can, with soul communication, we can discern who's the right teacher, who's the not so right teacher. We can discern when somebody tells us something, that's definitely not true. No. We can discern when somebody is giving us a piece of information and you say, I think that's about 50% right, but the rest of it, no, it's not resonating with me, right? That's soul communication. When you actually start applying it on a daily basis, which we're going to start teaching you how to do, and you literally start checking in on a consistent basis, you learn to use your Tao pendulum a lot more. What are you doing? You're following soul communication guidelines and patterns. You could and should be using your pendulum a lot to help you with many of your choices, especially those that can help you to have higher frequency and vibration, which could be, do I need to be in this relationship? Is this going to help me? I'm really looking at that glass of wine. It could be good, but is this a good idea for me tonight? No. Okay, thank you. All of these little things help you to open your spiritual channels more. Your spiritual journey, Master Guo, Master Sha's main teacher, said, if you are not advancing in your spiritual journey, this is a wasted life. Big emphasis on wasted. Master Sha expressed the way Master Guo said it. You throw away your life if you are not working forward on your spiritual journey. Okay? And there's statements that, I don't know if it's the exactness of the words, but the statements, that they say the Buddha said is that life is suffering. Life is suffering. I don't like hearing that. First time I heard that, I was like, well, that kind of sucks. That's not all that positive. Who is this guy, the Buddha, to be saying something so negative like that, right? But what is meant by that? If that's actually attributed to him, if that was actually what was said, I've done a lot of reading around this, and my perspective on it is very simple: that when we are conscious and aware and responsible, and we acknowledge the universal laws, do good things, receive good things, do unpleasant things, receive unpleasant. What's a universal law? And we acknowledge that that person gave me a ride when I needed it. I earned that. I deserve that. That was my good karma. Good job, Paul. And when you have that little car accident and you hurt your neck a little bit, I'm responsible for that. Somewhere along the line, I've done something wrong. I deeply, deeply apologize. When you walk through life with a very clear consciousness and 100% responsible, you are on a spiritual journey. Then there is no longer suffering. Life is suffering when you are ignorant of this truth. And we all, you, me, everybody, I very much do so, still get caught up in the sufferings. My sufferings are like I have expectations that things are going to happen a certain way and they don't. And I'm irritated about it. Suffering, right? So we all have our forms of things knocking us out of center. The spouse that's doing the same thing again and again and again that you wish they'd stop doing. The dog, peeing on the floor again and again. Whatever it is, if we can be with it, just witness it, zero judgment. So it is what it is. You've heard this before. Let it go. Master Sha's most profound teachings. Just let it go. It is what it is. If we can simply be with it, life is no longer suffering. Soul communication is for your spiritual journey. How can I use soul communication to stop suffering? If I am clearing my blockages, if I am clearing my pathway by practicing and doing the things necessary, and if I get a light bulb, as many as I can, so it knocks out a couple hundred years of practice and suffering, then what happens? What happens is your soul gives you warnings. It's a negative thought. Don't want to bring more of those. Okay, sorry. Watch what you're watching. That's not going to be good for your chi. It's going to bring your energy. Okay, sorry. That food, that food's not best for you. Oh, I know, but I gotta have it. So you eat it anyway, right? But your soul will guide you to be an enlightened being. It will guide you on your spiritual journey. It will shorten your spiritual journey a lot. It will decrease the suffering dramatically. But you got to be able to hear it first. So when you hear the soul communication will help you on your spiritual journey. These are just, a much wider perspective on how it shows up and how you can be very positively impacted as you consistently, daily, hourly practice soul communication. Your pendulum is one aspect of that. Okay, hearing message, asking. You got to ask if you want to hear the answer. And as you practice asking, as you practice hearing the answer, it might take you 2 months, 3 months, 4 months before you start hearing and you get past, oh my God, is that really me or is that my monkey mind? It might only take you 1 week. Regardless, as you move into a level of confidence and comfortability with hearing a clear message, as you practice, then what happens when you're just driving down the road and you hear a clear message, you don't question it. You just, fine. And you do whatever the message is you hear. That will shorten your suffering. That will increase your pathway in your soul journey. That increases your confidence. And now you're rolling on the spiritual journey and your spiritual channels are becoming more and more open. Very important. Next slide. soul communication for teaching. You guys see any other bullet points? Today, before I tell you this, Master Shah said, never go teach your audience until you know your subject matter. You could and should teach in flow, but make sure you know your subject matter. Don't just go in and go off the cuff, because you're not doing you or them a service. He said, so make sure you read the book, make sure you understand. So today, I was looking at what I'll be teaching, obviously the second soul house, but I know there's only about 15 minutes of teaching there at best. I got a lot of filler, right? And I started last week of the 8-week series because I have to redefine it. I had already had this whole thing defined before. I taught it 5 years, but I've had to reshift it and redesign it. And in this redesign, this was not part of it. What I'm teaching you now has not been part of it. And so I had to do flow. How am I going to teach today's class? This was about 45 minutes before class started. And so I put together this PowerPoint, no bullet points. Are you enjoying the information? Does it make sense? Is it flowing in order? Why is it flowing? Why does it feel good? Why does it sound good? Because Paul is communicating in flow, not going by bullet points, talk about this next, talk about this next. I had basically 5 or 6 main points. And from there, I'm following my guidance. Everything I'm sharing with you, I have trained in and taught and learned before. When you are in soul communication, you can teach. That's this bullet point, isn't it? When you are aligned and you have trained and studied and you're confident in your materials, you can teach in flow. You can also teach from a place of knowingness, because when you open your spiritual channels, you can receive direct knowingness where you just know. That's the 4th of the 4 major channels we go into in the final weeks of the advanced course. And so those that, and you might not be a teacher in this necessarily, that's not the point. You, before ever coming here today, have taught people. You have taught them many things. You've taught them how to tie their shoes. You have taught them, a good restaurant. You have taught them many things. And you will continue to do so after this. And you will run across people that have problems that you used to have. And when your spiritual channels are open, you'll be able to hear what is their root blockages. You'll be able to use that information to offer the correct healing. You'll be able to discern, because your spiritual channels are open, what they need to hear for the right practices, because there might be 4 practices that you know about from you're doing this for 3 years, and you just want to help them out a little bit. You don't want to be their teacher, but you want to help them because that's your nature. And because you have open spiritual channels, you can teach them. And because your channels are open, you will feel heaven shower flowers on your head when you do something positive for their soul journey. You can be a good teacher for anyone when your channels are open. And it doesn't even have to be related to spirituality. It can literally be related to just about anything, because when your channels are open, you'll hear information that you'll know is accurate, and you can give them guidance. You can even say, I'm not sure if this is the answer, but this is what I'm hearing. I think it will help you. And they'll say, yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense, because my teacher over here told me da-da-da-da, and now this. And yeah, great. It will help you to be a better teacher. Next slide. Soul communication as a service. What does that mean, as a service? Well, very simply, you can use it to help people to make better choices. When you start opening up your message center and you start opening and developing your own spiritual journey, you become more light. And as you become more light, people come to you. They know, their soul knows. Their soul can see you. Their soul can see the light. Their soul can see that you have healing abilities. Their soul knows that their personality of this person over here, their soul's over here looking at you going, oh my God, I need to get Jeff over there. This, Jeff is way lost. I need to get them in front of Becky. And so Jeff finds his way over to Becky. And pretty soon Jeff starts complaining about his life and how he needs to fix it. And Becky's spiritual channels are open. And Becky wants to help because she has a good heart. She wants to be of service. And Becky happens to have Tao hands, maybe a few light bulbs that can serve Jeff. And Jeff doesn't know why he's complaining to her and why he doesn't realize that Becky's a healer. He doesn't realize that Becky has all these talents. Becky has an open heart and she listens. She listens for a long time. And Jeff feels better just because Becky has an open heart and she's listening. She doesn't want to fix him. She just wants to be compassionate and be of service. And in being this compassionate of service person, Jeff just feels better just because he's getting bathed in the light. She's having an open, compassionate heart. And she might say at the end, I don't know if you're interested, Jeff, but I do have Tao hands. And they might be able to help you transform some of this information you're sharing with me. This doesn't feel so good. And Jeff's not even going to question it. He's not even going to question it even a little bit because Becky just listened to him for 10, 20, 30 minutes. He likes this person. He doesn't even know her. He just met her, but he really likes her. Something about her energy and her light. He just trusts it. He's like, yeah, whatever you got, I'm happy to receive that. If it's going to help me feel better, then you can be of service to this person. Open spiritual channels allows you to be more compassionate. It allows you to be more conscious and more aware of where you can offer service, when and how you can offer service. You might be not even sure how you can offer service. One of the greatest services that you can offer is the song of love, peace, and harmony. Might sound a little silly, but honestly, if there's a massive event, California slides into the ocean, or major fire, major earthquake, major volcano, major tornado, war, there are going to be people all over the place that are just sideways. They will not be stable by any stretch of the imagination. What if you were the one that's done all your practices and you're grounded, you're not in a place of suffering, you're witnessing, you're being cautious and careful and doing all the right things, but you're far more grounded than the other people running around like chickens. And you say, let us gather together and let us ground ourselves. Or you can just start singing because you want to be of service. You literally just sit still and start singing, and all the chaos around you is going on. I promise you, people will come, people will sit, and people will start transforming. This is the power that we've been given. The soul communicator can help those people in a calamity situation. Let's say there's no food, there's no water. The person that has soul communication can receive, dear heaven, I love you. I would really like to guide these people to where there's some food and water. Can you please guide me? Your third eye, literally, it could have not been open for life. And your third eye could instantly pop open and you see very clearly exactly where to go. This happens more than you can possibly imagine. Heaven loves us. Those that want to serve, they will have these kinds of things happen to them. Those that want to serve and those who have worked to open their spiritual channels, they will get clear information. You might not see anything. You might just hear very clearly. Go over the hill. That could be all you hear. Go over the hill. If there's only one hill, you know where to go. If there's more than one hill, you say, which one? The one on your left. Okay, great. Thank you. So soul communication doesn't need to be long sentences, long paragraphs, or a story. It could be, go over the hill. Which one? To the left. Great, thank you. You could use your pendulum. If there's two, is it the one on the right? No, it's the one on the left? Yes. Great, thank you, heaven. And you go. You lead everybody. How do we know there's food over there? Might not be. You can stay here if you like, but I'm going there because I'm confident. In other words, we hope that nothing like that happens. But something that Master Sha has been talking about literally for 20 years. Not 2, not 5, not 10, 20 years. Humanity is moving from third to fourth dimension. Humanity is raising their frequency and vibration. Those who are on the path of moving more and more to service to all versus service to self will be able to go through this shift in energies easier, better than everybody else. There may, M-A-Y, may be some unpleasant conditions that happen between here and there. There may be movements or shifts in the earth as the frequency and vibration is happening. And if those things kind of happen, then humanity needs healers and humanity needs people that can hear information clearly so that more lives are saved. Very simple. So why do you want or need soul communication? You may have had different reasons for coming in here to this class, but from heaven's perspective, you're here to serve because that's the purpose of every soul. Every soul is here to serve. So I hope that you add that to your list of why you want to open your spiritual channels. Next slide. Soul communication in the soul light era. What is the soul light era? Soul light era started in, gosh, I haven't had this question in a while, August 8, 2003. Is that right, Terry? I think that's right. And if it's wrong, you can tell me.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. August 8, 2003. Happens to be my brother's birthday, August 8. He was born earlier than that, obviously. And so what happened? Soul light era. What happened? Well, Master Sha has been connecting directly to Source for a long time, talking to Divine. And he was in an event and Divine came. And there was a meeting. And they said, there is an order being given in heaven that a new era will come to humanity. So this is, in heaven, the official shift into the fourth dimension is probably the simplest way to put it for everybody that operates on the simple version. Basically, heaven decides when everything starts moving forward. Heaven decides when an entire race, an entire galaxy starts moving into another dimension. And with that statement, the soul light era is beginning. From that date in 2003, if you start looking at all the books and everything that's out there, all of a sudden the word soul started becoming acceptable and popular. They named cars after soul, all things soul, very easy to work with. Prior to that, it was kind of swept under the rug, wasn't talked about too much. Nobody really knew much about it. So, soul was just not all that mainstream. Now, zero issues with saying the word soul because everything is coming to the forefront where life is about your soul. You're learning what is the purpose of soul? Why is soul? What is soul all about? So the soul light era is literally a 15,000 year era, possibly longer now, where we as an entity, as a race, and as souls are becoming light beings. We are moving into our consciousness that we're souls, whereas the entire time we've been here for X amount of however long it's been, we've been stuck in this whole 3D thing saying, I am an iron worker, I am a postman, I am a grocery store worker, I am a massage therapist. No, sorry, got news for you. You're a soul acting like a massage therapist. You're the 99% acting like the 1% is real. The soul light era brings this reality to everyone and everything so that it can all move forward in its highest frequency and vibration. Soul communication in the soul light era that started August 8, 2003, soul communication will be the form of communication. Verbal communication will go away entirely. It's gone entirely. Might take a couple hundred years, might even take 500 years. But Verbal communication will completely go away because people will be able to communicate without even talking. I was in a come on guys, give me a break. Try to show you something here. Can you see this? This was my vision in my, can't see that one because of the light, Buddha over there, but you know, very nice. This was my vision in, put that back, in my when I was in a soul travel with my second enlightened master. And in this 10-minute soul travel, I was walking around this strange place in the mountains of this very spiritual, looked like it was in China, I don't know, somewhere in the deep mountains. And I met Kuan Yin, and I don't have time for the whole story now. But in this vision, this soul travel vision, which was nothing short of profound, I had a 6-foot by 8-foot painting made of it, and that's a small version. It was that profound. And in this 10-minute soul travel vision, while I'm awake, not sleep, while I'm awake, I had this soul travel, I was talking to people, but I didn't open my mouth, and neither did they. I'm walking by, and these monks wearing this golden garb, hello, welcome. They were talking to me. And I was like, thank you. But I didn't open my mouth. That kind of experience is what is in our future. Soul communication on that and much higher levels is in our future. Why? Because that's a natural effect of operating in higher dimension. We're no longer going to be constrained by the limitations. Master Shah often talks about in the Soul Light era how he looks forward to having an entire teaching in soul language, something that each of you, I believe, have revealed in your Divine Healing Hands. You're going to learn in this course how to start translating your soul language, how to translate messages from heaven, messages when you check with your soul, outer souls. You're going to start moving into translation. How awesome would it be that Master Shah gives high-level, profound teachings, It seems a little fuzzy to me. Maybe it'll get more clear. I don't know. It still seems a little fuzzy. Hey ya yo ya hey yo yo hey yo hey yo hey ya hey yo. And you're sitting in the audience and you hear, today we are here together to talk about the nature of soul. Ya hey ya hey yo ya hey yo hey yo hey. The soul lives forever. Each and every one of you have a soul. In order to attune and align to your soul, you have to da-da-da. And you literally translate it. You'll hear instantly what he is saying. His vision is that he'll be able to have an entire meeting where he doesn't say a single English word, and all those in the audience know exactly what he's saying. That is normal in the soul light era and normal in the soul world, because as has been told you before, all souls speak the same language, soul language, and all souls understand what is being said. Soul language and the purity, when it's communicated and purely heard, is free of judgment and criticism, free of intonation, free of misrepresentation. We have 7,000 languages on earth, lots of room for errors, lots of room for failure, lots of room for problems. Soul language is free of all that. That is what is happening in the soul light era. So that is another important part about soul communication. And each of you are on the forefront of opening your channels for that possibility. Okay. I think that was the last slide. Let me take a look. Yes. All right. Questions? you have a better understanding now of what is the nature, power, and significance of soul communication. Definitely a little blurry. Maybe I have to wipe off the screen. There we go. A little bit better. Questions? Comments?
I just want to say that was a really good class. Thank you. That was eye-opening.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, agree. Really great explanations.
Yeah, we're very blessed. Almost all of this is, it's in Master Sha's books. But it helps you to have a far greater appreciation for where you might be headed and why you might be wanting to open your spiritual channels. The side effects are you'll feel better. The side effects is you'll be happier. The side effects are your health will be improved. The side effects is you'll clear stuff on your field. And the side effects is you'll get pure and accurate information.
Hey, Paul. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and now you know why. Go ahead, Amy.
I do have a question about Becky and Jeff. So you made the comment that Becky didn't want to fix Jeff. She just wanted to be a service. So when our frequency raises, do we quit wanting to fix people? I mean, I'm like ate up with, I have to fix everybody around me besides myself. And I know that's probably not the correct mentality, but
yes and no. I mean, we will still have the desire to help as many as we can, just like Kuan Yin. I mentioned just the other day, you may have been or might have not, but the reason she received the 1,000 hands, 1,000 eyes, which is unlimited hands, unlimited eyes, is so that she could serve more. And because she was crying that she heard all the people suffering and there wasn't enough of her to go around. So she received the ability to subdivide and be everywhere. That's what 1,000 hands, 1,000 eyes mean.
oh yeah.
And so yes, the desire to serve will always be there. The desire to help people will always be there. The difference is the more you move into enlightenment, the more detached you become from that individual's response or reaction. You offer the service, and if they're willing to receive, fabulous. If they're not, fabulous, because you recognize that that's where they're at on their soul journey, and you don't want to push anything. If they're willing to receive, that means on their soul journey, their soul knows they need it now. If they say no, that means their ego is a little high. Their soul's probably gone, oh man, but needs to learn some more lessons. So we become a lot more detached as we become more conscious.
That makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great. So next week, we're going to move into some of the practices. Vaguely, though, we're going to go back into soul language, do a little bit more on it, and then basically start working with soul language on a specific basis. And then after that, we're going to really start moving into translation and more clarity. All right, so let's complete this class. We thank our beloved Creator. We thank our own soul. We thank our beloved heavens, teams, guides, angels, and saints. We thank beloved Master Sha's original soul. We thank the soul of all of those that came to offer this great information so that this class can receive the highest and best benefits. We thank the soul of Tao Central Portland, and we ask all souls to please respect their return. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Gong song, gong song, gong song. So thank you everybody so much for coming, and we will see you next week, same time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome, my pleasure. Bye, everyone.